Hello, welcome to Oxford Heirlooms. Now, I've got my hand embroidery finished on the two little sleeves. I did that with 2 strands of number 777 DMC light blue floss. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I've got my sewing machine set with white thread and set to a straight stitch, and I'm going to proceed to create the little pin tucks on the sleeve of the gown. Now I'm going to extend my line out a little bit beyond the pin tucks, because once I fold on the pin tuck line, it might be hard for me to see where I'm supposed to stop sewing. Okay, so I have extended those lines on both sleeves. Okay, now it doesn't really matter where you start. I'm going to start on the inside and work my way out to the outside. So I'm going to fold on this pin tuck line, just finger fold it, and then using my sewing machine, I'm going to sew a seam that's about 1/8 of an inch wide. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. Oop, wrong way. Okay, so I'm gonna bring it in here, set it at my 1/8 inch mark, drop my needle. I want my needle to go right in on the line, okay? And then I'm gonna sew a 1/8 inch pin tuck along this fold. Okay, now I'm not going to clip my threads close, because what I'll end up doing, up here at the top, I'm going to tie an overhand knot, or at the bottom of the sleeve, I should say, just so that the knot is right there at the end, right here at the end of the sewing. And that will keep that from coming undone. Now what I'm going to do here up at the top, and I'll do this for each one of my little pleats, I'm going to get a sewing needle, and each one of my threads, I'm going to take them to the back or the inside of the garment by using a needle and inserting it, at the line. Get my needle threaded. Okay, so this is one. It's coming in here on this side. I'm going to go back in close to where I just stopped. Bring that thread to the back. Don't cut it off. Come over here to the other thread. Thread it into my needle. And on the left side of the pleat, I'm going to go into the back. And I've got both of my threads here in the back of the garment now. So I'm going to tie, you could do an overhand knot, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie a square knot. So it's right over left and left over right. Oh, now Sadie, you don't be howling in here. Okay, then I can kind of trim that kind of close, and that will hold that pin tuck into place without having to sew backward and forward at the bottom of the tuck, because that can get kind of messy looking. So let me fold on the next pin tuck line and repeat this process. Okay, I'm going to put my fabric in at the 1/8 of an inch mark. Drop my needle to make sure I'm going right in on that end line, and then sew a 1/8 inch seam. take it out. Don't trim it close. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie an overhand knot here at the edge of the sleeve. You could do a square knot there if you wanted to. Okay, so now each one of my threads that are loose out here, I'm going to get my needle again, like I did before. I'm going to thread my needle. There we go. And take the thread to the back of the fabric. Just by going in on the line, but not right through the hole that you were just coming out of. Okay, I've got one more loose thread to take to the back. I may have to tend to my dog here in a minute. Take that loose thread to the inside of the sleeve. And then once again, down here at the bottom, I like to tie square knots. So right over left and left over right. Okay, and then I can trim that back down. Okay, now I need to repeat this process for, because what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to press my seams towards the sleeve seam of the garment, but I have one more or two more 1/8 inch pleats to sew on this side and 4 more on this side, and then I've got 8 pleats to do on the other sleeve. Okay, so this will take me a little bit of time to get this done. Okay, I've got all those little tucks sewn in, and I've got them pressed toward the outside. Now, what I had to do was originally I only drew 4 tucks in here, but when I measured my sleeve piece up against my cuff piece, it was still too long. So I added 3 more tucks. Now, what I'll do is my sleeve piece that I scanned, and I'll send you by email if you want to create this design. I've already drawn in 3 more tuck lines on either side, so I will rescan this, and I haven't sent it out to anybody yet. So if anybody emails me and asks me for the embroidery design and the tuck guide, I will make sure that you get the right one. But sewing the tucks and pressing them toward the outside was what we were doing today. And that's looking really, really sweet. And I think it'll look very, very tailored for a little fella. Thank you.